All right, hello. Welcome to the end of the semester summary for Dynamics ECE 212. It has been a rapid fire 5 weeks. It's unbelievable. This is week 5. Going to discuss sort of everything that we've been doing over the past 5 weeks. It's been a lot, a very short amount of time. Hopefully, we can squeeze it into about 15 minutes. Also, going to look at some of the discussion posts that we've done and talk about the grade that I'm wanting to try and get. And so let's jump right in. So first off, the dynamics material itself. Now we have 14 separate course objectives, and I wanted to be able to get some sort of information on all of those, and just have some sort of working knowledge of quite a bit of doing. The dynamics course starts with a lot of different concepts like the basic kinematics equations, and then it goes into work and work energy, potential energy, kinetic energy, things like that, and gets into rigid body motion. So there's a lot, and of course, 5 weeks is not necessarily a lot of a lot of opportunity to get all that information in my brain. So I relied on two different video sources. One we've all been very familiar with now is the Jeff Hansen dynamics course. He does several courses over at Texas Tech, statics, dynamics, thermo. I believe he has algebra classes he does and posts all on YouTube online. So he has really great lessons here, and this is him kind of deriving the velocity, acceleration, and position formulas and showing their relationship with one another. This is some basic physics level, at least calculus-based physics level stuff here, which is a great review. That's what this video is in particular. But he has a whole series, and so I used some of these, watched a few times. He has some great examples, some really good, car type moving examples that kind of show everything working. What he did not have a lot of was the rigid body motion type examples, where you start moving from when the free body diagram. You think of a classic example is a particle, right? It's a particle moving through space, and then you can do all the different position and velocity, acceleration, all that. Rigid body is now, if that particle is not such a little bit bigger, not such a particle anymore, and maybe it's rotating or moving. So for that, I utilized videos of Dr. Yin-Heng Wang. She has a video series herself and has a little bit more with, she also has some linear impulse and momentum that Jeff Hansen didn't really have as much of. And then again, the rigid body motion examples that were instrumental. So he should make some of the different. All of this I took into, and I used my Rocket book, and so that I could save my notes and put them into um, OneNote. And so the Rocket book was great because I could write my notes really easily and then use the Rocketbook app to upload them into the Rocketbook app, and then I could share them into eventually into OneNote. And so here's our 14 objectives. I went ahead and took my little notes page here and broke it into the 14 objectives, as you can see. And then for each of them, I have my notes that you can have a look at. And just some quick, usually a page or two of notes, maybe some examples, some practice problems. Really, I sort of kept this as not so much that I'm going to be able to recite all of this knowledge. It's been 5 weeks, and there's not. It's a little difficult to get all this in 5 weeks in one note. Um, and again, may not be able to have all this information, but now that I have some notes here that I can look back on, and then the two videos that or the two video series rather, that I can look back on as needed, to pull some of this information in as I need that information. Very handy. The reason I use my Rocketbook in particular was I'm not sure what necessarily happens to my OneNote here in the class once we leave the class, but I was able to use the Rocketbook and download this into my own Google Drive. So now I have all of my notes here in Google Drive, and this is my maricopa.edu drive. And so now, I have this reference information that I could, and we talked about building the portfolio. And so that's kind of what this is. I have this, and it's going to be a little reference for me that I can, if I need this information, I can look back in my Google Drive, look for it, and then reference a video and sort of go back and get that information as needed. So that's sort of the dynamics part of just the text material, the objective material. That's how I chose to tackle this, using my Rocketbook, using the videos, creating a little notebook for myself, and having some reference information that I can go back to at any time. And again, yeah, using Google Drive because now I know I'm going to have this information in my Google Drive all the time. So that being said, let's look at some of the different projects that we did. Now we started with Logger Pro. Let me jump over some screenshots. Now you wanted us to do some ball bearing, or just drop a hard object and dropping a coffee filter or something like that. So I started with a ball bearing, just trying to use Logger Pro right after the basketball example, but dropped a ball bearing. Okay, that was pretty neat. You can see the graph. And then we went ahead and I did a Swiffer duster, in place of a coffee filter. I did a Swiffer duster, sort of this feathery type duster that would sort of fall. A lot of rain resistance, would fall a little bit slower. And then I moved on to throwing a blitz ball, which is sort of like a wiffle ball, and throwing it just a straight kind of a fastball style, and then switching it to maybe like a curveball, which is a little, just slightly different. So here's the screenshots, and I actually have the video from each of those. So here's that. Now, I've never used Logger Pro before this venture, and I was pretty impressed on how easy it was to use and navigate and how much information you could get from this. So here's my fastball throw, and I'm able to get, curve fitting here and see basic, rates of movement and all that. And then, so that's very easy, just by going up here to the curve fit, simple, straightforward. Tracking the ball was easy. Now I used a bright yellow pitch to help the ball there and make it easy to track. But in terms of placing the movement, very easy to use. You click on it, it would move the next frame. I really enjoyed the ease of use that came with Logger Pro and the functionality of it. So I have a demo version, but I'm looking forward to maybe going beyond video analysis. There's a lot more in Logger Pro that I know I can use. And so I might spend the summer just sort of fiddling around, or at least using this to make my curveball a little bit better, right? That's not too much of a difference from the fastball. So use that to improve some pitching improvement. We also did a spike ball video with this, one of your spike ball videos, and it was something similar to the ball drop. Where I had some difficulty with it, didn't work for me as well in terms of just placing. I think my videos, at least for working it here, were a little bit better for me. All right, and another project that we did was some of the design challenge of the log cabin that would help us transition into slicing. Now we had used Tinkercad only a little bit in statics. I tried to make a race car, and in trying to dimension that race car, sort of a crude attempt, and it didn't really turn out well. So getting another chance to build something that I thought was structurally a little bit similar, but offered a little bit another second chance really to try to get something right. It was a log cabin challenge. So I went about trying to create a log cabin in the, I would call it a Lincoln log style log cabin. So I built using Tinkercad one log, and I built that one log, and I built notches on each side of the log, and then I could copy and paste and paste and paste and paste and paste that log to build up each wall of the cabin eventually. And that's how I built my cabin. I was able to use square holes to cut out windows and all that, which I thought turned out pretty great. Again, sort of like a Lincoln log style cabin, right? The old Lincoln log toys. The reason this was so neat is because it transitioned into, for me, getting to use MakerBot, getting to see how uh, the slicing concept worked. And MakerBot was a ton of fun to see because you actually get to see like a preview of how this object, what you make, is going to be printed out. I want to give this just a minute to run here as it'll try to do it. Let's do this just a minute. We'll pause for just a minute while this gets going. And we're back here. I wanted to pause it while it built up or got ready to do the preview. Don't want to waste too much of my video time here. But now you can see as it begins to estimate the materials and sort of preview the print, and you can see it. It's almost like printing it, like a sort of a mock print up of how that's going to look. And just so you can kind of see, and then we'll make a file that you can actually send to your Replicator Plus. Got me really interested in 3D printing. It was something that sort of, for me, not something I knew about, something you see in YouTube videos, but downloading MakerBot kind of inspired me to say, okay, this is not something that's completely foreign. It's something that I can do, something that I can learn about. And I mean, I went to Amazon, looked at the prices of them. So maybe later on in the future, this is something that I can do on my own at home. I thought that was very interesting. The other big reason for doing this was, of course, the mass that that we got from ASU that you printed and were making. The log cabin was sort of the intro course, right? The tutorial for doing one of these. Let me go ahead and pause it real quick and let this boot up and so that we can see this print. This to me was the big takeaway from this semester, and then I would even say across all classes, the big takeaway was watching this get done, seeing this get done, and granted, I got to make a slice, or I got to learn how to do the slice on it and that's fine. But to know that this is something that you were able to make and do, and were able to make some mass and supply a few hospitals, and that's probably the big, what I'll remember from this dynamics course more than anything was getting to see some contribution to the coronavirus issue, COVID-19 pandemic. So that'll be really what I take away from the biggest, the fondest memory, I would suppose. Going back to some of the discussion posts, now this is going to be sort of 30,000 feet, not going to get into any single one of these. I am seeking an A in this class, and part of that is to respond to all the discussion posts, and so you'll see here, you can see that is something that I did do, all discussion posts. I did respond to all those, did did reply to anybody and everybody that did post. It's been a little frustrating this semester. It's sort of been all over the place in terms of posting. Trying to go back and watch previous weeks and reply to people that, maybe some people in week 2, some folks in week 3 have been kind of watching. Not everyone has responded into week 3 yet, and we're, at the last day of week 4 right now, going into week 5. So anybody that I can reply to, I have replied to, and so on. With the last minute here, kind of some takeaways from the course. This has been an interesting course. It's been, compared to the first half of the statics course, this course has been on the fast forward button, certainly, and it's been a little odd. I haven't seen anybody for 7 weeks now, and it's just been go, go, go in terms of the material. The material is something I'm going to take with me for a long time, and the notes are going to be something I'm going to take with me for a long time. This class, as well as the statics class, in terms of big takeaways, it's going to be communication in the real world, professionalism in the real world, collaboration, project collaboration in the real world, accountability, going and showing up to, even if it's online meetings or things, showing up to things like that. And with that, thank you very much. This has been my semester summary. Thank you very much.